Hi, today's video is about Dendrobium aphyllum, and it is part of Care Collab series. So there are other channels that will be making a video about Dendrobium aphyllum, and there are Tots tropicals, Fernanda Nascimento, orchids and succulents, Michelle's Life on Repeat, honeybees and orchids, Simply Orchids, and Ninja Orchids. So check out their videos about Dendrobium aphyllum. And well, I have Dendrobium aphyllum right there on top of my shelf hanging down, and fortunately it did not bloom yet. I sent the plant a memo that we have Care Collab on Monday, please bloom. But well, it said no can do, I have my own schedule. So all I can show today is just buds. So Dendrobium aphyllum is one of those orchids that need cold, dry rest during the winter time. And for a long time after starting growing orchids, I was scared to buy them because I wasn't sure if I would be able to provide the correct conditions for this plant or for this type of plant. And then one day, Rescue South sent me Dendrobium jenkinsii, which is also the one that needs to rest. And so I started to do a research on how to take care of it and came across videos from Roger's channel. He has really good videos about dendrobiums, and he actually classified them into different types, and he explained the care for each of the types. And somehow his video made it look and seem so easy that I dared, and I went and bought Dendrobium's aphyllum, this one here, anosmum, and Loddigezii, just so jenkinsii wouldn't be lonely during those winter rests. And so that's how I started to actually try to grow this type of dendrobiums. And the care for them for me in my conditions, I grow indoors in Canada, which has really cold winters. Sometimes we have temperatures, like really often, down to minus 20 and even lower during nighttime. So having those cold nights and cold days actually helps me to achieve cold and dry rest for my dendrobiums. So what I do sometime in end of October or beginning of November, I just put them on the windowsills. Like usually they grow on the tops of those shelves because then they can hang down, right? It's convenient. And it's pretty warm and not that cold, right? It's ambient temperatures in the house. But for the winter rest, I put them on the windowsill very close to the glass. So it's really colder there. And also the window has bright light. And so that's how I achieve dry winter rest for them. I don't water them as often as during rest period. I don't use fertilizer, I just use tap water. And basically I just ignore them. Maybe 3-4 times I water them through the whole season, through the whole winter season. And they're not on this window because this one is occupied by Neophynetes, but in different rooms through the house, they're scattered on the windowsills. Like this particular one was where the veranda hang. So, but when they're in some other rooms, it's easy to forget about them. So it's easy to ignore them. And it works. For this one, for the aphyllum, it works for Loddigezii. I just recently posted a video about my Loddigezii with so many buds. I mean, so many flowers. But the same routine doesn't work for anosmum for some reason. And I cannot explain why. Like, this plant has what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buds, and I wouldn't call it like really good blooming, but at least it does something, right? It does produce the buds and it flowers, even though it did not lose the leaves, but it produced the buds. Why it doesn't work for anosmum, I'm not sure. Now, I have it potted into coconut chips, but underneath those coconut chips there is piece of the mount, because previously this plant was mounted on a little piece of cork bark. But then during summer, I couldn't keep up with watering. It was drying out too much, and I think canes were not very strong. So I decided to pot it. But again, I didn't want to just rip it off the mound. I don't really like disturbing my plants. So what I did, I cut the mound into a smaller piece, and I just put them out inside of this pot and then put the coconut husks on the top. And well, it kind of works. At some point I probably need to remove that piece of mound, but I really don't want to. I don't like to disturb my plants. So while it's growing, I'll just keep it like this. And yeah, so for the summer, for the growing period, I bring it here, put it on a shelf, and it blooms here, and it continues growing. Now I water this plant with fertilizer. I add fertilizer to each watering at half recommended strength. I use Dynagrow Orchid Pro fertilizer, which is liquid. And because I don't have a schedule, right? All my orchids dry in different times, and so I just add fertilizer to each water that I use, but at very diluted rate, and it works. And I think that's about all. There are some things that I'm still not sure about this plant. Judging by, it's blooming second year in a row for me, and judging by these 2 bloomings, it only blooms on the new canes. So I have 1, 2, 3 old canes on the plant, so I'm not sure what to do with them. Do I just wait until they dry out and die back, or do I cut them off? I think, like, my gut feeling says, if it's still green, then I should keep it, because maybe it has a storage of nutrients to support the whole plant. But of course, the fact that it will never bloom makes it probably totally useless. But so I'm keeping those canes, but I'd like to know other people's opinion on that. Or maybe it's just my plant doesn't use the old canes, but other plants do. Please let me know. What do you do with the old canes? And yeah, so that's my care collab video about Dendrobium aphyllum. I'm sorry that I don't have flowers yet, but when those pots will open, I will post a picture on a community tab, so I will show the flowers eventually. And thank you for watching, and have a nice day.